What's up everybody, this is Bad Intent. I'm just going to make a quick video reflecting on the making of the Pokémon Basics website and course, and all the guys that are on my YouTube channel. So if you've joined Pokémon Basics, which is free, you'll notice that there are really two different types of guides that are on there. And really there's two different types of guides that you can make in general for like games. There is the heavily scripted type of guide where I write the script up, and record it verbatim in Audacity, get that audio voiceover, and then I put it as a separate file, and then I record all the individual clips and match them up. So like, let's say I was talking about like how to break a throw, then I would go record breaking a throw, how to jump, I'll record how to jump, and then I would splice them all together, and then I would get an overlay, and then I would get text, and I put all that together in a video editing program. Then there's the other type of guide, which is the more extemporaneous guide, which is where I open OBS, I put my face in the lower right or whatever, and then I just record everything right there. I don't have to sync up any audio, I don't have to find any extra clips, everything I'm recording right there, no extra text on the screen. So I'm going to compare the pros and cons to both, and sometimes people have been talking about how some of my beginner guides for the character guides, because most of the character guides are kind of like that. Most of the character guides are like, I talked about the top 5 moves in field phase, top 5 moves in dual phase, and then just the overall like general idea of what the character should be doing. So an example I'm going to give is like the Lucario guide that I made that's like that, and then like the Aegislash guide, which is like a very, very scripted guide. So I'm going to talk about the pros and cons. So the biggest pro of making like a scripted guide like that is that it looks really polished. There's a ton of information. I have all the frame data. I have stuff like the exact frame that a move gets armored. I have like a ton of different individual examples. There's like actually literally like hundreds of clips. If you like look at all the individual cuts, there's like hundreds of cuts in that video. So that's the pro to that. The con is it takes an extremely long time to make. It actually took me, I think, 2 weeks to make the Aegislash guide. It took me longer to make some of the other ones. It took me a little bit shorter to make some of the other ones, but those take a really long time because you have to do a lot of editing with those. So that's that type of guide. There's another con that I'm gonna get to in a second. Then there's the extemporaneous guide. The thing with extemporaneous guides is you can't put that much information in them. You can, but if you do, it'll make it take a really long time because you're not going like directly on the script. The biggest pro of that is you can record a whole video and then edit the whole thing in like a day. Whereas this one could take like 2 whole weeks. So I think the Lucario one, I think it took me like a day or 2 days because you record everything right there. All the clips are in order right there. All the audio is synced up. There's no extra text. Just boom, right there, easy. And another pro specifically to that type of guide that I made is because I'm not talking about too much information. If you're a beginner, like this is what the guides are for. This is the Lucario beginner guide. It's not for somebody that's been playing the game for 2 years. Because if you've been playing the game for 2 years, you don't need a beginner guide of a character. You've been playing the game for 2 years already. You already know how all the characters work. But the thing is, when you keep it streamlined, as far as just like talking about 5 things here, 5 things here, is if you're a beginner, you're just getting into the game, then it's a lot easier to follow that. Now, let me talk about the con of the other type of guide, because a lot of people might make the argument that, hey, the Aegislash guide is like the best guide that I've ever made, and then the Lucario guide is like one of the worst guides I've ever made, which is true and false. The Aegislash guide, while it's one of the best guides I've ever made, is also probably the actual worst guide that I've ever made. Because it's like the most polished, it's like really long, it has all this information, and those are exactly why it's like the worst guide. Because if you're a new player and you just started the game, how are you gonna follow all that stuff? You're not, right? If I told you 20 different moves and gave you the exact properties of all those moves, even gave you some context of when they could be useful, you're not gonna follow all that stuff. It's just not gonna happen. All you've done is you started playing the game like a week ago. You watched Pokémon Basics, maybe chapter like 1 through 10, and then you want to get into some games, and then I'm telling you, oh well, this attack becomes armored on frame 5, and then if you sidestep this move, your sidestep gains invincibility from frames 1 to frames 15. Like that stuff is gonna go way over your head, right? And this is actually why I started making guides more like the Lucario type of guide, and more like my other character guides that I've been uploading. Is because when I started playing Soul Calibur, I was watching this guy J.M. Cross, and he made a Songmina guide. I don't play Soul Calibur like that, right? This was the first Soul Calibur that I actually put like more than like 3 hours into, right? Soul Calibur 6. And he was like, hey, it was an extemporaneous guide. He was like, this is how you play Songmina. 1B, sidestep B, forward B, and then 6A. That's it. Those are the only moves that you really need. Everything else is like icing on the cake. and you just, demonstrated a little bit of it. He showed like 2 combos, and that was it. And that's all you need if you're a beginner, you've never played the game, or you barely played the game. that's the best way to actually learn. So that video helped me way more than videos that are like, all right, let me go demonstrate Somnia's entire move set, give you the frame data properly. That stuff is like, that, if I was looking for that, that's something that if I was already playing the game for like a year, then I'd want that type of detail. But that's not really what the demographic of the beginner guide is for, because if you're looking for a beginner guide, then you're a beginner. So if you have any interest in making content, I think definitely consider those two things, because while one of the types of guides looks more polished and has way more information, it also goes over the head of the people that are like watching it, and the people that need it the most actually get the least amount from it. And the guys that are a lot simpler, you're just talking about, 5 things, 10 things, just real quick. Those actually can be the most helpful to somebody that's just picking up the game. So part of the reason I'm making this is because there are a few pop monsters that have been talking about how, oh well, some of the character guides that I've been making are like way too simple and way too much tailored for beginners. And yeah, that's exactly the point. That's what they're for. But hopefully you guys have liked Pokémon Basics, the website, and the courses, and the free videos that I put up on my YouTube channel and stuff like that. Probably be streaming a little bit more this week. I'm looking for Garchomp players as usual, but I'll play some other characters depending on who shows up. Anyway, thanks for watching. It's been Bad Intent.